Hi, this is Marcus from Aroma Time, and I want to talk to you, the staff, about the beef that we use here at the restaurant. I'm very particular about beef. Now, I personally don't consume beef on a regular basis. I do taste, but very, 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 very seldom will anybody ever see me sit down with actually a steak in front of me and start eating. I will taste, I enjoy the taste of meat, I don't partake in meat on a regular basis. But what happened, I switched over about 10 years ago from eating a primarily meat diet to primarily a vegetarian diet because of what was happening in the beef industry. I was very upset with how they treat animals and how animals are processed and slaughtered, and it's really discomforting. So for here at the restaurant, we actually hand pick a beef that I'm extremely comfortable in, and guys that are doing the right thing. So there's three main beefs that we use here right now at the restaurant, and this changes from time to time. There's always new producers coming up. There's always producers that can't supply enough anymore, or so things change, logistics change. So the three main beef that we use, our burgers right now, we use an Australian Wagyu, which is called Kobe. So we use an Australian Kobe burger. It's an 8-ounce burger. It's from a very managed herd in Australia, really high quality beef. Every animal's DNA test or DNA is safe from every animal, so that everything's tracked and everything on the farm. Really, really a good farm. There's a really upscale beef that we use from Texas called Akaushi. Akaushi is two brothers, Ronald and Donald. Back in 1994, they went to Japan and said they wanted to do a true Japanese beef in Texas. Instead of getting sperm and crossbreeding with American Angus to come up with what they call Wagyu or American Kobe, they actually went to Japan in 1994 with a Boeing 747 and hauled out 11 full-grown red Akaushi cattle. It's pronounced Akaushi. They brought home 11 Akaushi. There was a loop in the trade hole, and there was a, let me say this again, there's a loophole, thank you David, a loophole in the trade agreement with Japan that allowed them to do it at that time. No longer is that loophole there. That loophole was immediately cut off. The two brothers had to hire off-duty Texas Rangers to guard the cattle 24 hours a day because there were death threats on the cattle, and they thought the neighbors were going to crossbreed because again they had a rare Japanese breed called Akaushi. Well, over 15 years later, the herd is very managed. From those 11 adults, they now can produce 20 animals a week. That's still a very, very limited basis of beef. The average American slaughterhouse, the big guys, do 400 animals an hour. These guys are only doing 20 a week. So what they do is, it grades out at double prime. So prime beef is about 8% fat. This is about 16% fat. Japanese Kobe's even above that, another 24, 25, 26%. So this beef rates in at double prime. It's hand raised in Texas. It's called Akaushi. We're one of the very few restaurants that actually gets this beef. It's an allocated beef. I mean, there's one distributor in New York City that has rights and licensing to sell this product, and they go around and hand-pick restaurants that can properly represent this beef. Because if it went to a Smith & Wollowski or a big steakhouse, they'd be gone like that, and it really wouldn't do the brand justice by just going into a restaurant and being gone in a couple days, and they wouldn't be able to fill enough demand. So by coming to a place like us being the staff, we can properly explain to the customers what they're actually eating. Now, it is a pricier piece of steak, and I have some customers that are in the restaurant industry that have said to me, Marcus, this is the best tasting American beef we've eaten, hands down. So the beef is awesome stuff. We do primarily a strip steak with it. The last one I want to talk to you about is a farm that's just right up the road, which the majority of our beef is coming from here now. And pretty soon our burgers are going to switch over. Once supply is we're easing this in right now. And it's called, it's from the Osterhout's, Claude Osterhout, his farm, and it's called Hudson Valley Cattle Company. Extremely small farm. Animals are on pasture, they're supplemented grain. The gentleman these farmers were so intense that their beef was getting shipped off to other places to get processed. They said, we don't want to mix our cattle up and cross-contaminate and go into another slaughter floor processing plant with other animals and potential, contamination. They built their actually own slaughterhouse, USDA approved slaughterhouse on their farm. The farm is less than 20 miles just north of us. The cattle, they calve the cattle, which means the cattle are born on the ranch. They don't buy cattle from an open market. They have no vet, which means there's no hormones, no antibiotics, and they don't even vaccinate, which is a key, because some places vaccinate still, and then they might not use hormones and antibiotics. No vaccinations, no hormones, no antibiotics, so 3 key points. The cattle never leave a 20-mile radius to get to the restaurant. They get processed there, they get picked up from our distributor, Kagan Meats, and then the meat gets delivered here. So as far as eating local, this is incredible beef. It's marbled highly. which means there's a lot of nice fat speckles in it. So marbled really highly. The flavor's phenomenal, and it's truly local beef. Most cattle guys have to ship their beef 100, 200, even 300 miles to get it processed, to go into a processing plant with other cattle and wait in line and maybe not be treated so right. That was the part that the Osterhouts were most upset with. They took it over to a slaughterhouse, their animals, one day, and they were very upset with the way the animals were being treated by the people at the slaughterhouse. So they said, well, the only thing we can solve this is if we do it ourselves. So exactly that's what they did. So this is a recap of our 3 beefs here at Aroma Time. Australian Kobe for our burgers, Akaushi from Texas, from Donald and Ronald, Akaushi, Heart Brand beef, it's called, awesome stuff. And then the beef that's coming into the restaurant and slowly taking over all the other cuts right now is the Hudson Valley Cattle Company. People want to hear the story on the beef because we have a lot of people that come here that will not eat beef out at other restaurants, and they trust where we source our beef from. So it's very important that you, the staff, understand the dedication and commitment that we have to serving high quality, clean beef. And every now and then you guys will get a vegetarian that comes in here and says, you know what, I only eat meat once a year on my birthday, and I come to you guys for it, and they trust what we're doing. So it's very important that you guys understand what's going on here so they can trust all of us, and you can just answer questions that they ask on the beef. Hope this helped you on your beef here at Aroma Time. Ask any questions, ask Jamie and I, ask some of the other staff, and make sure you understand our beef. Thanks.